like now excited to find it. Like I really want to find it because if I can find it, I want to make sure I don't duplicate it again tomorrow. Welcome back to Be the Trader, everyone. You know, mental struggles in trading is very real. It's something that I've been dealing with since the beginning of my trading, and over time I've gotten better with facing it. But it doesn't go away, right? I talk about meditation. I meditate every day during the weekdays. Weekends, sometimes not so much, but every day during the weekdays, minimum of 20 minutes plus, and it really has helped me stay focused and not beat myself up and be okay with having mistakes, being okay with not doing great sometimes. And at the beginning of my trading career, it wasn't like that. Like I would beat myself up. Like if I ended up breaking some rules, I'd be like, why would you do this? Like, you know better than this. Like, don't be an idiot. Why are you oversizing? Why'd you get in when there was no signal? Why didn't you wait? Like, I used to always beat myself up. And it wasn't until I stopped doing that I was able to really start growing, because I started to be more of a nurturer rather than a disciplinary, right? And I don't even know if I pronounced that right. But I wanted to be more of a nurturer. Be like, you know what, it's okay. Here's where the mistake was. Let's make these adjustments. Let's go ahead and move forward and let's grow. And I started asking myself questions like, what can I focus on right now to improve on to be better tomorrow? And today was a day where it was very confusing for me because I ended up having a negative 2.5 hour day, which isn't fun for me, right? But I'm not mad. And this is where I'm at today. Like back in the day, I would get mad, be upset, think you don't know what you're doing, second guess. All of those things would come in my head. Like, do I know what I'm doing? Am I just getting lucky? Like, I used to think like that all the time. And I can't tell you there's a magic word or something you can do to immediately get away from that. But what I can tell you is when I started to meditate, when I started to focus on being a nurturer, over time, I was able to really get away from that and be more focused on being okay with setbacks, being okay with evaluating mistakes, being okay with not being green every day, being okay with not being green on every trade, being okay with mistakes. I know I said that twice, but it's so important. And today, I'm facing a challenge though, because I've been so okay with mistakes growing through my trading career that has enabled me to do better and help me stay consistent, help me grow. And so now I got into a point which is very interesting, where I literally am not mad at all, and not any type of animosity, but more concerned about making sure that I pull out the lesson for today. That's where my head's at. And I'm very happy about that. And I'm glad someone asked me to talk about the struggles that traders face in the mentality part, because this is something I'm facing right now that's, I won't say is a struggle this second. And it's not really a struggle, if you will. It's more of a struggle of identifying where the error was. I'm so focused. Like today, I'm like, you know what? Did I trade bad? Did I trade my setups? Where could I have done better? What did I do that I can improve on? Did I oversize? Is it because I was experimenting and oversizing a lot more that I ended up not doing so well? Were they really great setups, or were they just okay setups? And I analyzed that like multiple times today, because I would walk away and be like, okay, well, it is what it is, and I'm okay, not a big deal. Went to go talk to my wife, went to go play with my dogs. I was happy, and I genuinely mean that. But I'm also, at the same time, there's something in the back of my head just itching. And it's like saying, but where is the error? And it's interesting that I'm like now excited to find it. Like I really want to find it, because if I can find it, I want to make sure I don't duplicate it again tomorrow, right? I want to make sure that I can work on something tomorrow. And I talked to another trader just to get their perspective and be like, hey, look, like, is it just me, or like, did I just trade sloppy? Here's what I was thinking. Was I just being reckless? And through a long conversation, and it was mainly being a soundboard, right? That's the thing. Like for me, I think out loud. So using someone as a soundboard and talking out loud helps me figure out where the error was. And I came to the conclusion that I traded well. I traded everything I saw. However, at first I thought everything was a great setup. And then after evaluating again, I still thought everything was a good setup. I just thought, maybe things didn't work too well. And then I asked myself this question. I said, okay, well, let me go back and review all my trades. And let me see which ones are the no-brainers. And after looking at that, there was really only maybe one today that was really a no-brainer, and it didn't happen till like noon. And then I asked myself the question, why did I trade these other ones? And then I looked at the size I traded the other ones, and I was like, I was trading no more than a quarter size. So I took a lot of paper cuts. Why? And then it made me think a little more. I was like, you know what? This is possibly because there wasn't any great setups or signals. Maybe there was a good big picture idea, which is why I took the trade, which is why I took it. But there wasn't any real good signal, really good setup, or any good structure to the trade. And the only one that really had structure, that was clean, was at noontime. So I was like, okay. I then realized that all those quarter trades, those were not so good trades. And then I said, well, why am I doing that? Like, I need to just focus on the best setups. And we all know this. And over time, like, I'll just focus on best setups. And then every once in a while, like maybe 2-3 months later, I'll hit a day where I just kind of get a little loose. And then I got to rein myself back. Today is that day. I got a little loose. And I didn't recognize it on the first evaluation, the second, the third. It was like the fourth time that I was like really trying to figure out where is the problem. I managed my risk well. I stuck to the plan. I sized in, oversized on a lot of plays, but that was a plan today. I took a lot of paper cuts. Okay, that's going to happen. That's not a big deal. And then I reviewed my trades again. I was like, these are setups, right? The idea is there. However, when I really sat down again and I said, you know what? I need to find this, because I know it's very, very, very rare that the answer is I got unlucky. It's very, very rare. It's mostly what I'm thinking up here and how I'm executing. That's what it is. And I came in today sizing up to a whole new level. That was what I came in with. And sizing in and adding to winners more aggressively. Those are two new things I was trying today, right? Then I took a lot of paper cuts. And it wasn't until I actually asked myself, what was the no-brainer trade today? It wasn't until I said, what is the no-brainer? And I looked at all the trades, and only one of them was like a no-brainer. And then that enabled me to open up my mind to ask a harder question of why did I take so many paper cuts? Because all those paper cuts equal to 1R. So in actuality, maybe I should only be down 1.5R. Like, that's a huge difference to me on tons of paper cuts. And I started to evaluate the paper cuts, and I was like, these are not, if I can't see the setup like right away, there's a problem. And that was the problem. I was trying to force some things today. And then coupled with trying to oversize, which is not a big issue. I'm not upset about that. But do you see I'm always going back to that? Trading is not easy. Like, you want to be very, I guess the word is you just want to analyze and always ask yourself, where can I improve? What can I do better? But I'm not upset. Like, I traded well. I did everything properly. I managed risk very properly, because if not, I increased my size today. I added to winners dramatically. It's a new thing I'm trying, and we'll see if it works. And I may try it some days, some days I may not. I don't know. And then I ended up being wrong a lot. So I'm thankful that I didn't hit max loss. But I still want to find out, where can I improve? And this is a challenge we're going to always face. Like, you don't want to leave the day, or at least I don't. I don't want to leave the day and just say, oh, I was just unlucky, or, oh, everything was great, I just didn't win, right? Unless I evaluate every journal trade, and that's the other thing. I made a mistake today. So it sucks to admit this, but I didn't write down any of my trades today. And then that hurts me for two reasons. Number one, I'm supposed to write down. Number two, when I go back to evaluate, I'm evaluating what I think I was thinking about at that time instead of actually looking at what I wrote down and seeing what I was thinking at that time. It's a big difference, and I know that. And so that was irritating because I was like, you know what? If I would have wrote everything down, this would be a lot easier to evaluate the trades. But you know why I probably didn't write them down? Probably because, and I don't know which one of these is right, but it's one of these for a fact. I have a feeling which one it is, and I point that out. But it's either FOMO, trying to just jump in something, and it wasn't a great setup, or there was a big picture, but it wasn't really a good setup, so I just kind of took the trade. Or just total emotions, like I'm just trading just because I want to trade and make money. I promise you it's because I didn't see a phenomenal setup. So what am I going to type? Nothing. So why am I typing it? It's a waste of my time. So that's what I did today. And that, admitting that, feels good because it makes me realize that the mistakes today are my fault. The mistakes today are in my control. So tomorrow, I will come to my desk, read my mistakes, I will read my journal, I will read my goals, and I will attack the day only if there's a no-brainer setup. So I'm going to be a little bit more strict tomorrow. I'm not going to take these feeler trades, and that's hard for me to do because I've gotten very used to taking feeler trades, but I'm going to really get away from that. It needs to be a setup to where I maybe get a starter. That's fine. Starters are fine. But not just, oh, I think this is a great long. The entry is not super clear, so let me just enter in on this huge dip and give us some room. Did you... Saying that out loud literally just sounds like I have no idea what I'm doing. And or it at least sounds like obvious no setup, right? If you're saying things like that, like you probably shouldn't be trading it. And I'm telling myself this because sure, I can say, well, I manage risk well. So when I'm right, I'm really right. And it doesn't matter. Like if I was right on any one of my trades today, it would have made up for everything. But that's not how, I don't want to just rely on being right? I don't want to rely on winners only. I want to rely on trust in me to only trade great setups because at the end of the day, I'm not doing this just for me. I'm doing this because I want my family, like my kids, when that day comes, to be able to spend time with me, spend time with my wife, their mother, and I want to give my spouse or my family time to do what they want to do, right? So this is bigger than me. So I need to focus and just trade the right setups. It's okay being wrong. You can see that. I'm not mad about losing. I'm not mad about being wrong. I don't care about that. I want to stay focused. So today, here's the biggest challenge that a lot of traders face that we're talking about right now. And I say, here's the biggest. There's a ton of challenges that we face mentally. But one we hit this morning or earlier in this conversation, I should say, and that was the mental struggle of beating yourself up, right? We talked about that. So don't do that. But number two is don't overlook your mistakes. Don't, oh, it was just a bad day. Don't do that. Because if you do that, then it's easy to do it a second time. And it's an easy hill down. And I can tell you from self-experience, when I first started and start to find some consistency, I would do that. And I would just roll down. And I know from coaching some traders, every once in a while, we'll just do one-on-one calls. I'll help some traders out. I'll just enjoy doing that. And I've seen some traders where I'm like, yo, you need to relax. Maybe you shouldn't do this. But they do it anyway. And they hit a max loss day or something like that. So you can't overlook mistakes. And for instance, there was a trader, a young guy who was doing really well, and he ended up ignoring some of his mistakes, but he was making money, or he was coming away break even, or he was like getting, I salvaged the day. Those answers to yourself can really be just a huge error, at least for me in my experience. And I don't want to do that. So today I really wanted to spend a lot of time digging into it and figuring out what happened. And yes, sure, I'm proud that I managed my day. Sure, I'm proud that I cut my losses. Sure, I'm proud and happy that it wasn't max loss. But I'm more happy that I was able to reevaluate it several times. I did it 4 times to find where I can improve. And that gets harder as you grow. It does. So one of the biggest challenges is, like we talked about, not beating yourself up, right? It's a mental challenge we face. Not letting things be like, oh, it's just unlucky. And fully taking responsibility so much that you need to find the solution to that mistake. And at the same time, sure, I'm sure there's gonna be times where there isn't. Like it's rare, but there's some days where I did everything right and it's just break even day. I'm like, all right, cool. Small red day, all right, cool. But today I could feel it. Something was off. So if you feel something off, make sure to hit that like button, because it does help us grow the show. But if you feel something's off, you need to evaluate till you find it. Talk to another trader. Talk to a colleague, talk to a friend, talk out loud, write in your journal, take a break, go for a run, come back, evaluate, go eat, come back, evaluate. If you still don't see it, next day, evaluate until you can find it. Because I'm telling you, you can find it if you really look for it so you can improve. And don't look for it in a beating yourself up way, I should have known. No. This is a never-ending journey. This is a never-ending battle between you and yourself, and you want to make sure you enjoy coaching yourself. So I enjoy coaching myself. I enjoy finding these things. So find the joy in coaching yourself. Find the joy in learning from your mistakes. And I wish you a blessed journey and take care.